Hey everybody, you are watching and listening to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host Andrew Benjamin. I'm joined by my friend all the way from the land of the Bober Kruwas, Daniel Gizubecki. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everyone.
Bober
Hello,
Kruwa.
everyone. It's after midnight in Warsaw, but we are doing it. We are pushing it, and we are looking forward for Monday's event. Yes, it's Monday because there's a national holiday in Japan. Japanese are known from holding events, not only Rising, but K1 and Rise as well. They are known from doing events. In the at the holidays, the 3 days. So yes, it's very interesting. Maybe not very convenient for the people that are normally works this day, but it is what it is.
Are you going to be watching it live?
Of course, yes. I have a free day.
I am not going to be. I am that is going to be a replay the next day when I get home. Maybe I don't know if they're going to do prelims or anything like that. Maybe they will. They don't do. I think they're. If they do, I'll maybe watch one or two. Then I'll wait for the rest of what they're going to be showing. Watch later in the day. Yeah,
Fortunately,
but also we
there's
got.
fortunately
Don't
there's no
forget
YouTube
this.
prelims this time.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah, so maybe not. I'm just gonna go to sleep as soon as I'll probably be asleep before the show even starts. But also don't forget, they are not. They switched the show because they were originally gonna be on when Neri versus Inoue was
Yes,
gonna
yes,
be
yes.
on.
That's why this show got postponed from the first date. It was the first weekend of May, from what I remember,
Yeah,
or the
so
first Monday of May.
yeah, and luckily they still kept the number. This didn't become a random landmark show like they did the last two shows.
Yes, yes, yes. It's very rough sometimes.
But yes, we're here to talk Ryzen 46. Before we start off, we always do our poster check. So let me do a screen share uh, of the poster. Which so Daniel, you obviously know the poster I'm talking about, right? This
Of
one.
course. Um, yeah, the butterfly motif. It's for MMA fans that are used to watch this sport more than 3 years or 5 years. It's a visible reference to some famous Pride poster with a butterfly on a Pride glove. It was from Grand Prix 2004, and this is uh, this is what makes Japanese poster special. Because there are people that this shit doesn't promote fights. This is some fucking weird shit. No, this is some unorthodox way on watching fights or on fight sports or on MMA. Japanese used to always or almost always do this kind of stuff, and as I said before, this attitude makes it very special.
You also do the thing where they put almost all the fighters on. Usually for like UFC, sometimes Bellator. They'll usually just have the main fighters, and maybe the co-main on the bottom. Actually, did you see this week's? Is it Perez versus Nicolau? They got the names backwards. Actually, I think on the poster, right?
Oh yeah, sometimes they are combining more, sometimes less, but it's not very often. I think.
Yeah, I know, but this is a big thumbs up. Also, as well, I remember somebody pointing out before the blood. I love the blood on there.
Nice detail, yes, definitely, because it's something like two totally different things. Because you have a butterfly that isn't associated with a fighting, and then you have that small detail that reminds you what it's all about.
Yeah. Actually, and now that I think about it, uh, Is that supposed to? Is that blood in the shape of the island of Japan itself? It looks very similar, unless my eyes are playing tricks on me.
Oh, this is a very interesting
I just
question.
realized that like right now, it looks like Japan, kind of.
Kind of, yes, 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 yes. That's interesting. Yes, definitely.
But yeah, so this is an immediate thumbs up. I would put that right behind me if I could, but I don't want to fuck up my wall. So yeah, but that's a poster I would absolutely hang up. Would you? How about you, Dan? Would you bet? Was this what I like to? Will this be in the level of you go to Shingo personally to ask him to get one of the posters?
uh, I got the one poster from Shingo. Fortunately, we've been able to talk 2 days before at the weigh-ins in Azerbaijan, so he knew me. Fortunately, I wasn't a random guy from a Twitter.
I don't know, but would you? Is this one that
Oh,
you would ask? Hey Shingo, can you get me one?
oh, if I would be at this event, if I would attend, and there wouldn't be any merchandising as it was in Azerbaijan, I would definitely do this. But I have a small tradition that I have every poster of Rizin show that I've been attending.
Mm-hmm. So I gotta start doing that. I gotta start doing stuff like that. But also, I just wanted to give a shout out. He's in the chat. Focus Fights Jay Krish. He had a great preview of Jay Wolf and Izzy yesterday. I suggest people watch that and also check out Drake Riggs' interviews that he posted this week on Broadened Horizon. And also City Life Project. Isha is going to have his own predictions video. He said he's uploading it right now in the chat.
What is
So
great,
yeah,
a lot of promotional things, foreign promotional stuff from our own side, yes, from the fans side. So it's I don't think that many promotions got this kind of fan base. I know that Bellator had its own fan podcast, the Bellator Zone, but we have actually more than one a podcast about Rizin.
yeah, absolutely yes. And I hope it continues. I hope it gets bigger and bigger, so I don't have to do this shit anymore. Just kidding. No, I like this. But one thing before we get into the fight to the Rise of 46 card, one fight was canceled. Unfortunately, it was a fight that probably would have been a good one. Hiroaki Suzuki taking on Yaman. Yaman injured his ACL. That's oh boy, that's one of those injuries where like, oh my god, it's like lucky to draw. If he comes back, that's great, but he's still not be the maybe 100%. So I don't know. Were you looking forward to that fight when it was announced initially, Daniel?
Could you repeat the
Oh,
question?
sorry. Were you looking forward to Suzuki versus Yaman when it was initially announced?
It sucks that this fight is out because it's nothing but action-packed fight. But unfortunately, Yaman got injured, so we will have to wait for his return on the ring.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they didn't put in somebody for Suzuki because usually they would replace somebody. But I'm kind of surprised because it was early. I'm surprised they didn't just try to sub into somebody else for him, especially because there was 145 pound fighters on this card.
You know what? This year is kind of special for Rizin because they are announcing a lot of events with a bit earlier than usual. So maybe they have some booked fighters, particular fighters on a particular dates. So maybe that's why there's no replacement for Hiroaki.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But other than that, on paper, what are your initial thoughts, Daniel, on this fight card?
I would say it's very fun. Definitely, the main event is great. Definitely, the idea of Japan against Korea match is great. the thing that I'm very looking forward to is Japanese debut of first Azerbaijan show prospect Ilhom Nazimov. This is, when I was watching that landmark show in Azerbaijan, I wished that it's not one off for the majority of fighters in Azerbaijan. I wish that Rizin will take some of these fighters at least once again. It would be great that some of these fighters would be Rizin regulars. So we have something like this. Ilhom Nazimov will make.
Unfortunately, some of those Azerbaijan fighters are going to be tied up for a bit.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, but this is very very good point about that whole international roster, because that massive arrest of all Azerbaijani fighters made things a bit, I would say, more difficult for a Shingo, who is a matchmaker, because we know that Rizin cancelled or postponed one of the pressers. I think that it had to do with some Azerbaijani fighter, but they couldn't, have a guarantee that he will take a visa, and couldn't have a guarantee that they will bring him to Japan. So I think this is this thing why that presser got collapsed.
Yeah, and well, I knew it was serious when Tofi got kicked off the Bellator card. I was like, okay, if they can't get him into Europe, then it's really bad. So hopefully the entire team Baku can get their shit sorted together and then get out of jail or out of house arrest, whatever.
Definitely yes. About the card, I like the matchups because the matchups are kind of equal.
There's no filler. I feel like
Yes.
there's no regional kickboxing crap. There's no random. I mean, there's a bare knuckle fight, but there's no like insert 3 kickboxers just because they're from the Tokyo area or whatever.
I will tell.
It's just a straight.
I've been thinking about it this week. Why the Kanto shows doesn't have the kickboxing fillers? And the answer is majority of MMA fighters, even when they are living in Osaka, a lot of people are relocating to the greater Tokyo area. And in other words, Kanto. And that's why they don't need the fillers. In kickboxing is a bit different because in kickboxing they are more local orientated. The people who are fighting, they don't have to relocate to Tokyo, and they can sell the tickets. In Kanto area, you have a lot of MMA fighters, so you don't have to fill up the cards. This is my theory why these Kanto cards are different than local, I don't know, Kansai cards, Kyushu cards, Sapporo cards, and stuff like this.
I think also, I just lost my fucking point. The other, also for this card as well specifically,
yes,
it's on a weekday, so that's why that's why it's only 10 fights. I think it is total. So
supposed to be 11, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 11, but it's only 10, which is because it's on a weekday. And listen, Tokyo, those subways don't run forever, so that you can't have a 15 fight card, unfortunately, J Wolf, on a Monday. So you're gonna have a lot of pissed off people who are not gonna make their trains. But yeah, I think that's also a reason why for this. But I think you bring an overall good point though, that like it's the Kanto region, Tokyo, Saitama, MMA everywhere. Kyushu, especially Osaka, Nagoya, you have a lot of kickboxing in that region, a lot of kickboxing approaches. So I think that also is a big factor. That's a good point as well. But we're gonna get into this fight card. We're gonna start from bottom up, as we do with the previews, and we're gonna start with Ryo Takagi versus Taisi Nishitani. Takagi from Pancras, Nishitani, one of Mikuru's boys, who was just recently actually knocked out on Breaking Down. This fight was supposed to be earlier, but then they moved because he got brutally knocked out by a guy who was on Rise. I forgot what his name was, but yeah, it was like, ugh, it was brutal. But I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. I don't think Nishitani has any chance to win this fight. I think Takagi easily knocks him out in the first round.
The betting odds are agreeing with you because Taisen Nishitani is an underdog. His Rizin debut was very short because he fought. I think it was his debut, but lastly he fought in 43 show in Sapporo, and he got knocked out by Hiroaki Suzuki, who countered by an overhand his flying knee. It was one of the best knockouts in Rizin last year. And yeah, Hiroto Yamaguchi, he fought in with Hiroto Yamaguchi in the fight.
Well, due respect to Yamaguchi, though, he's just a guy who kind of just brawls. He's been knocked down and knocked out a bunch of times, so it's kind of like 50-50 with him.
I would say about the stylish things. Taisei is primarily he is more like a grappler wrestler, but he can go and brawl. And he shown this in his Yamaguchi fight. He also shown it in some of his deep fights. But also Takagi is a primarily a striker, but he has to watch out on his neck. Why? Because Nishitani has 2 finishes by Bravo choke, and moreover he usually trying to make this choke in almost every fight. So this is his
It's
very
like
strong.
his Dustin Poirier guillotine.
Yeah. His trademark, I would say.
I still don't give it Nishitani a hell's chance against Takagi. I think Takagi is not going to fall for any of that shit, and I think better striker, better overall MMA. I just don't see what Nishitani can do to even go the distance with Takagi.
I would say that Nishitani will try to take this fight to the ground. When speaking about Takagi, he is a good striker. He lost with his promotional debut with Viktor Kolesnik, but also he made a lot of damage by his straight countering punch. Also, he lost with Kolesnik not because of striking, but because of the fact that Russian turned on his wrestling mode. Moreover, this fight took place in a cage. This time it will be in a ring. So I think that this fight will look slightly different. And it will be an advantage for Takagi, as I said before, who is a very good counter puncher.
Sorry. What do you? Who do you pick to win?
Takagi.
Takagi.
Takagi, but I wouldn't say that Nishitani has totally no chance. If he will catch the neck and he will do his trademark move, I think he can make an upset, or other scenario, he will get into the brawl. Everything can happen in this case, but I think Takagi is slightly.
You're too nice. You're too nice to meet Bruce friends. I agree. Don't think Nishitani has a chance. I think this is biting off way more than he could chew at this point in his career.
But
also, the fact he got knocked out recently as well. He got knocked out back in March or whatever. He got knocked out by Suzuki at the Sapporo show. Takagi's finished all of his fights but one by knockout. It's just on paper, I just see Takagi this is going to be this is a light job for him.
Do you think that Ryo Takagi has a better striking skills than Hiroto Yamaguchi?
The thing about Yamaguchi is that he's very chinny.
And
He's been in a lot of brawls. You have a chance to knock him out, not even by technique, but by just sheer like brawling, baiting him into a brawl, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. Because it's all about style. Because Yamaguchi is nice to watch, but I know that Beyond Kick Discord has a different opinion. But in my opinion, he is fun to watch because he has.
They also hate Noah. They also don't like Noah.
Yeah. No doubt.
Okay, but
of course, Takagi.
If you're, but listen, here's the thing. Nishitani. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I wanted just to wrap it up. Takagi will probably win. I'm giving him a 75% of chances.
Gotcha. Okay, and we talked a little bit about before, but we could we'll get a little bit more deep. Sora Yamamoto take on Ilkom Nazimov. Now, so Yamamoto kind of disappeared for a while. Apparently, he was in California training at 10th Planet headquarters, which is I don't know. I thought he was a good enough grappler, but maybe he wanted to. I don't know. Needed some Eddie Bravo. Like I said, Nazimov is the first debutee from that Azerbaijan show who's making his Japanese Rizin debut, which is great. I mean, it's interesting that they're both. Well, I don't know. It's very hard to pick who this because Namo has been gone for so long. I'm interested to see what he looks like after that long layoff because he was clearly Rizin had plans for him. But then he lost a bunch of his fights that I think was supposed to win. And then, he fucked off to California to try to improve his grappling. Now we got Nazimov, that fight he had with Joris Day was amazing. That was like one of the best displays of striking I've seen. Like, that's like not Max Holloway. That's not like a top guy. But Dan, well, let me ask you, how do you think this fight's going to
go? I have no doubt it isn't the question if Sora Yamamoto will try to make a takedown, but the question is when he will try to do this. Nazimov is a great kicker. He has a nice physical conditions. He is quite tall, but in this case, he won't have that much advantage like in a fight with Joris Dea. Joris Dea doesn't have even 170 centimeters, so the advantage of the conditions was huge in that fight. Yamamoto has something like 180 centimeters, so it won't be that significant thing. But the striking skills, Nazimov is training in Tiger Muay Thai. He doesn't live in Uzbekistan or some other former Soviet Republic. He left everything and risked all of his life to martial arts and relocated to Thailand, and he's very dedicated to what he's doing, and he's very good in what he's doing. Because, of course, he had that fight in UAE Warriors that he lost in a couple of seconds, but also I think he underrated his opponent. He had his hands very, very low, and right now I think it was a valuable lesson for him, especially when you will watch this fight with Dea. And as I said before, great showcase first and foremost of using his condition, kicking. He was keeping the distance by his kick, but also.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but you're breaking up a bit.
Straight punches and overall striking skills. Of course, he has good. If necessary, he can make a sweep from the clinch. He can show as he did against there. So I think he's much more complete and.
Oh, Dan, are you back? Oh, we might have lost Dan for a bit, but I'll just briefly give my thoughts on this. I'm always worried about when a fighter has a layoff and then comes back after a while. And for the case of Yamamoto, he hasn't fought since. Let me double check this. I think it was 2022, 2023, April. So it's basically about a year since he had his last fight. Dan.
Okay.
Good. Gremlin's out.
Wrong.
Sorry, go ahead. I just heard. The last thing I heard was that you said leg kicks from Nazimov.
Yes, he's been keeping the distance in this fight against Dea, but also, if necessary, he can make some takedowns from the clinch, especially by the sweeps or the judo throws. Even he did it in that fight in Azerbaijan, but. And I think he has more convincing style. Of course, as I said before, Sora definitely will try to take this fight to the ground. Of course, as you said before, Rizin had an idea for him, especially that he is a son of a former UFC fighter, Kenichi Yamamoto. So this creates a very possible, interesting storylines, and that's why probably.
I gotta give a credit to Izzy on Jay Christian's Focus Fights preview. So here's the crazy thing. So Sora is 23 years old and has a bigger fight record than Nazimov, who's only had 13 fights, while Yamamoto has 16 plus 9 plus 2. That's 27 fights. Actually, I just found that that there's a whole bunch of fighters on this card who are younger than their opponents, but then have more fights than their actual opponents, which I think is it's one of the most interesting statistics about the show. But predictions, Dan, what do you think Nazimov will be able to get this win, or do you think Yamamoto is going to look good in his return?
I would give about 65% for Nazimov. He convinced me very well in his last fight. But from the other hand, when you will take a look on last Sora's opponents, excluding Yokoyama at Nexus, because it wasn't Rizin, but he also lost with Karamov and he lost with Kanehara, so only top fighters.
And also Suzuki. Don't forget, remember, he fought Suzuki right after Suzuki had the Shoji knockout. And
yes. I'm just talking about his last fights. But okay, yes, yeah. Of course, yes. Suzuki also, current champion, so it is what it is.
Yeah. I was going to say, right before when you had to take a brief timeout, I always get worried when a fighter comes back after like a long layoff without doing anything, because sometimes they look great, but other times they look like shit. And listen, maybe his grappling is gonna look great in this fight, but from what I see from Nazimov is gonna have nothing to worry about when it comes to if he has to use defensive grappling or defend takedowns. It's gonna be easy pickings for him. I think Nazimov is gonna win this on the feet very easily, and I don't think this is gonna be a good outcome for Sora. I'm thinking Nazimov to win this pretty decidedly.
Do you think that Nazimov will finish him?
No, I think that Yamamoto is a very hard guy to finish. Karamov couldn't finish him. Nakamura couldn't finish him when they were in 50-50 guard or whatever. He's a hard guy to finish. He's very wily. I think this will probably go to distance. Probably.
He has 1 KO loss.
That was years ago. That was
2017. Now I can see.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think Nazimov really will be able to KO him, and I don't think like even if Nazimov even gets him down to the ground, I can't see him submitting. I think it's just gonna be 3 rounds of. I think we're gonna kind of see the same thing that we saw Jarvis Day, just being pummeled on the feet, and Soros desperately trying to go for the takedown, which I don't think he's gonna be successful with.
One also important thing because this fight will also will take place in a ring, unlike the Rizin debut of Nazimov. But I think it will make a favor for Uzbekistan, for a fighter from Uzbekistan, because simply he's a striker. Every striker feels better on a ring.
In the ring, yeah, I absolutely that too. I agree. So we got to talk about bare knuckle. First time ever in Rizin. Bare knuckle rules: 2 minutes, 5 rounds. By the way, is that fun? You know the meme. I don't know if you're into video games, but everybody like when something like weird or like how this world comes about, people will say like, "Oh, this came out before GTA 6." We're getting 5 round. We're getting 5 round fights that are not non-title before GTA 6, or in this case, before Rizin title fights. So yeah, BKFC rules. Tatsuki Shinosuke, who's no longer with K1, he is now. He said at the press conference that he bought out his contract to join Rizin, so he's no longer a K1 guy. So J Wolf, I don't want to hear you say that he's a K1 crossover fighter because he's no longer associated with K1. Taking on X. I don't know. Who do you think is going to be X, Daniel? That's a loaded question. I have theory.
We've been talking about this just before going on air, and my theory is they are using the BKFC logo. So I think that most probably they will try to put on someone from the regular BKFC roster. Right now, the champ is Keith Richardson, but when I will take a look on the on the roster of bantamweight in BKFC, you have a lot of different fighters, but to be honest, I can't recognize anyone. Oh, okay, I can see Justin Scoggins, who also fought in Rizin.
That's interesting. I thought about that, but that's a tough guy to put in your first. And listen, let's be honest. I think Rizin wants Shinosuke to get the win. Scoggins is a very tough fight, and also why would it be a surprise? It just seems so weird. I mean, here's it. So I have a theory that they don't mention this during the Knuckle Mania. That's a Japanese fighter. That's my big theory because it just seems so weird because they've never done this to a foreign fighter, and it just seems. I don't know. It's a very I don't know it. They've done the surprise opponent before, but those fights were really they were like the Shibatar, the Ren fight was against what was his name? The kickboxer who I hate. I forgot what his name. The really boring guy.
Then that tall Muay Thai guy.
Yeah, the guy who makes the face.
Genjuman.
Yeah, which was kind of like a really Genji Umeno, but the Shibatar ones kind of made sense. Were Tension's opponents when he did the 3 boxing things also X as well?
I think so.
Yeah. So and it made sense. Okay, Hiroya, Hidoyo Tokoro, like actual well-known names. So, but it just doesn't seem. It seems out of whack of how Rizin usually does. Especially because it's a first time fight as well. First time bare knuckle fight. So, I mean, my guess would probably be that it would be some Japanese kickboxer. That's what I was thinking.
I have said it before before the start of our show that Japan has a relatively strong lightweight scene because International Lightweight Federation Japan operates. They are taking some Muay Thai fighters. Sometimes there are a lot of MMA fighters. Also, Kohei Tokeshi fought in Lightweight Japan at Lightweight Japan events. But if this is this is maybe the possible way of the situation. But from the other hand, that went into my mind right now.
You got me though. Now you said Justin Scoggins. I'm like, damn, that would make sense though. That would make, because he's a former Rizin fighter, but putting him as X just doesn't. It's just weird. It's like you would announce that, I would assume.
But
Right?
keep in mind that maybe Rizin has a valid contract with Scoggins, because he was supposed to fight in Azerbaijan, but he couldn't finally make his way.
Yeah, passport issues apparently.
Yes, something like this. But also the other possibility, BKFC occasionally is doing their shows in Asia, in Thailand. So maybe someone from Thailand. This is a possibility.
Like here, like it's like if they didn't mention, like if they don't mention it at all during BKFC, like I don't know, is that like you think that maybe they're gonna be like they're gonna make the announcement on Knuckle Mania?
Would be awesome.
Because they didn't. There was no mention of Rizin during the press conference yesterday, as far as I remember. I don't think there was, and so we had to wait.
But
that's why I'm hesitant to believe it's going to be a BKFC fighter at this point, because BKFC isn't really mentioning like anything about this whole thing, and also there's no way that David Feldman can get from wherever they're going to be. Are they in California? I think. Yeah, there's. I don't. It's going to be actually. Maybe you can make it to Japan in time. I don't know. It just seems like I thought they're going to release a fight during that whole when they're releasing all the. They did the like Pettis Kyoji thing, and then that was like the only one that they didn't release. I was like, huh, that's interesting. So
I think that if they have to make if they want to make a surprise, they wouldn't announce it at the press conference. If they want to make a surprise, they will do it. They will do this thing at the event.
Maybe it is Shibitar. Maybe it is Shibitar after that. I don't know. Like the Justice Goggins things, though, really, you really got me thinking that maybe it might be him. But the surprise doesn't make sense in my opinion.
But also that also came into my mind that all of the X fighters, or majority of the X fighters, were a mystery until the VTR just before the fight.
Yeah, but they're also all Japanese as well. That's the other thing. But also, it would if they were Japanese and they were known fighters to fight fans. So, which in Justice Goggins would make sense. And finally, he has no social media, so we don't know where the fuck he is right now. He could be in North Carolina or he could be in Japan for all we know right now. So, yeah, it could be him. He would be the best person because, he ain't gonna be sharing with anybody. But yeah, no, like. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I might stay up just to watch this, just to see up to this one. Now that I think about it, I really am interested now.
I don't know if you're a kind of frequent watcher of bare knuckle boxing, but I had a chance to make a commentary in Polish for both BKFC and BYB, and also. I'm a regular commentator of BKB, the British one, and I think that the American promotions are way more entertaining than the British one because of the rule set. Because under the American rule sets, you can do the all dirty boxing, the all clinch work, and it changed the things a lot. In Britain, you can't do things like this, like in a traditional boxing. So that's why I think the BKFC thing at Rizin 46 is very interesting thing, especially when we have all X thing, the mystery thing included.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see because I can't really make a prediction because we don't know. I don't know who the fuck's fight X, so I'm not gonna make a prediction. So I don't think you want to either. So I'm curious to know what the betting is, though. I wonder if the bettors have gotten word over if they even know what's going on over in Rises. That'd be fun if they don't. So, but yeah, let's move on back to MMA. Yoshiki Nakahara, Victor Kolesnik, who we talked a little bit about before. Daniel, I think this is going to be a very grindy fight, in my opinion. I think this is gonna be lots of clinching, in my opinion.
It's very clear possibility because both of the fighters has issues with being entertaining. Let's say this: Kolesnik, in his rising debut against Kishimoto, made great work in a stand-up position, especially by the calf kicks, because he knocked out basically Atsushi Kishimoto by calf kicks. But in his next appearance against Ryo Takagi, he had a lot of problems in stand-up, especially that also Kishimoto used this problem of Kolesnik, because Kolesnik is relatively easy to counter, to being countered. All the damage that Kolesnik took during his two Rizin fights was after the counter punches of his opponents. In his second fight with Takagi, I think he felt threatened to that level that he simply took this fight to the ground, and he won against Takagi simply by his wrestling skills, by being all-rounder. And first and foremost, this fight took place in a cage. So this was also the factor that helped Kolesnik a lot. But from the other hand, we have Nakahara, who used to punch more than go with his opponent to the ground, but I think something has changed a lot after his KO loss against Chihiro Suzuki, when he went stand and bank against Suzuki. He got knocked out, and then we had a fight against Dark Shirakawa.
And it was terrible fucking fight. I don't remember anything about it.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. Me and Janek Niwiński were really interested about this fight. Wow, what a banger! They will stand and bang. They will beat the shit out each other. No, because why? Because Nakahara, after his KO loss against Suzuki, turned on permanent wrestling mode and out wrestled Shirakawa. And I have an issue with this upcoming fight, that it will be a grind fest or a clinch fest, as you said before.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this beforehand, so that's what I said, and that's what you said. If we're thinking this, then I'm worried. Now I'm worried. I think this is going to be a grind fest. As for who I pick, I think this is going to be an easy one for Kolesnik. I just don't see what Nakahara can do to negate the wrestling, negate the striking. I think this is going to be all three rounds in Kolesnik's favor. What do you think, Daniel?
I think that Kolesnik is a favorite, but I would give him just a slight advantage, maybe 55%, maybe 60%. I wouldn't underrate Nakahara, especially that we can expect anything, literally anything from his side. We know Kolesnik's style, and he's kind of constant. When he is threatened striking, he is going to the ground, like with Takagi. With Nakahara, we don't know what he will do. If he will try to strike, or he will immediately go to the ground. That's a very good question, and the main factor of this fight.
No, here's the other thing is also I learned from that Chihiro Suzuki fight is that Nakahara, is still susceptible to being knocked out. And I don't think you really have to worry about that with Klesnik. But listen, if Klesnik's at all, like, if he's losing in the striking exchange, he could just shoot for a takedown probably, or threaten even a takedown to get out of harm's way. So I mean, yeah, it'll be easy. It'll be harder to do takedowns as opposed to a cage. But I just don't see. I think Klesnik's just going to be beating him in every facet of MMA, in my personal opinion. Um, and yeah, I have not been Nakahara. I was a fan of, but yeah, that Darkshire cow fight really that really soured me on him. Um, Interesting fight next. Bay Noah, returning from California, aka after disappearing beyond the milk carton, taking on Yusaku Inoue, who disappeared for many years himself and then came back, got knocked out on Rizin, and yeah. Also, maybe the least intimidating fighting I've ever seen. Yusaku Inoue. Like, this guy just looks like a salary man. It's just the funniest thing. Anyway, Daniel, what do you think about this? Will Bay Noah be able to get a win after his long sabbatical?
That's a lot of questions about this fight, because we can actually expect everything from this fight. As you said before, Buraku Panta was absent a lot of time, because his last fight was at Rizin 40 against Shopatri Kusami.
Yeah.
But if you will see his
that was MMA, right? That was MMA.
Yes, MMA, okay. MMA, of course. After his series of losses, he went to the United States. He also
came back home.
Yes, right now, yes. But he trained in AKA with Habib also. But
I wanted to bring that up because, okay, so, and this is the unfortunate thing about gyms like Jackson Winklejohn, aka Killcliff, ATT. Okay, so yes, he trained at AKA, but did he actually train with Khabib? Did he train with Makachev? Did he train with these guys, or did they just look at this guy like he's some fucking scrub from Japan who's a kickboxer, 1-3 in MMA? You know what? Put him. Did they do what Jackson Winklejohn did to Holly Holm? Put her in with the regulars. And I'm wondering about that because I look at his pictures and I don't see anything about him. I don't see any pictures with Khabib. I don't see any pictures of Makachev or DC, unless I missed them. But I don't know. Did he actually get to train with those people? If he did,
it was, to be honest, it was a bit like an exaggeration from my side. I was a bit joking around.
No, but I know, but like that's important. If he's training with Khabib and Daniel Cormier, okay, fine, yeah, maybe I'm like, okay, we got someone different here. But if he's just doing the regular classes with all the other regular scrubs, then that's.
Do you think that Adam Piccolotti is a regular?
I saw that picture of Adam Piccolotti. I don't know. Is Adam Piccolotti doing the things, the Khabib's class? I don't know. He doesn't see it. He's not. I don't see him do anything that Khabib really does or anything that DC does.
But okay, it was an exaggeration from my side.
Yeah, I know.
But I will tell you this. In terms of MMA, being MMA fighter, Bay Noah is a beginner. He got thrown by Rizin, for the very tough opponents, very tough opposition. With for example Koji Takeda, and he didn't have much time to evolve as an MMA fighter. So even training with Adam Piccolotti is a big step up for him, and even changing the environment is a big step up for him. So I don't think that the whole Makhachev or Nurmagomedov think is even necessary at his point, from his point of view. It's still great that he could compete, not even compete. He could train with former Bellator veteran.
So, but the other thing also I worry about is Beno's chin. That I don't know if he's still young, but man, some of those knockouts, like the Usami knockout, the time he's been knocked out in Rise kickboxing, man, those are some scary knockouts. And Inoue, listen, I gave Inoue no chance when he fought Kohei Tokeshi, and he just stormed right through him like he hadn't left the game in 3 years, which is what he did.
It was one of the best actions, best knockout actions of last year's in Rizin. To be honest, it was flying knee and then immediate right straight cross, which knocked Tokeshi out. And he is still mystery because, as you said before, after this layoff, he had his fight against Tokeshi. I'm speaking about of course, and we know actually nothing about his current shape.
I think I wish Tokeshi didn't retire from MMA because I think that'd be a much more fair opponent for Beno at this point. I'll be honest, I don't think this is going to go in Beno's favor. I think he's going to get knocked down in the first round. I think I still think that Benoa is. I think he's a type of opponent, the type of fighter depends on who he's fighting, on how he does. And the Usami knocked him out. Takeda submitted him easily. Dominator beat him, even though he really did beat Dominator. If you think about it, the Lukaku fight, he was losing until he got a lucky punch in. I just don't.
Do you think it was lucky punch?
I think it was. I mean, lucky in the sense that the open wasn't like dumb luck, but it's. I don't think it was intentionally going for the knockouts. If that makes, he wasn't ready for that to be the knockout punch because Beno's not really a knockout artist. He's really not. He's an athletic guy, but he's not known for being a knockout guy.
I think so. Yeah, I think so, of course. But if you will see his last 4 opponents, both in MMA and kickboxing, you have Koji Takeda, who is a great wrestler. Then Kaito, who was a champion of shoot boxing, and he's a poster guy of Rise. Hiro Iwajima, former K1 champ, and then Sho Patrick Usami, who was a amateur boxing Japanese champ. Only tough opposition for him. That I think that step down, who Yusaku Inoue actually is a very important thing for Benoa, and the sign of a good matchmaking of Rizin, in my opinion.
I still don't think. I don't think that Benoa really does have a good chance in this fight. Actually, Daniel, maybe you can answer this. This is from our good friend Josh, who's a big fan of yours. Who wins, Benoa or Bernard Aka?
Bernard Aka would be a threat for Benoa because, as you said before, Benoa doesn't have a very strong chin.
Yeah. Actually, going off on that, I'm picking Yusaku Inoue to knock out Benoa in the first round.
I think that Benoa can make it.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. I was gonna say, with K1 opening up and doing the whole tournament, man, it's too bad that he gave up. I don't think he said he's not gonna do kickboxing. I think he said he's not gonna do kickboxing anymore. It'd be great to see him in that K1 tournament that they're doing. He would have been a perfect person, but he said he's doing MMA only from now on.
Considering who K1 took from Japan, I don't think he would be a bad thing. His participation would be a bad thing at all for this tournament from the Japanese side. But there's also one interesting thing about his camp in AKA in the United States. He used to fight under American flag because I believe that he's born in the USA.
I think it
But
was like literally moved the next day to Japan. I wonder if it was one of those things where where maybe his family was on vacation and his mother just happened to give birth in California. I wonder if it was something like one of those things. Excuse me, sorry.
What I wanted to talk about, because I remember that you made an interview with him, from what I remember, and you needed an translator.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't speak English at all, and I'm interested how he redeveloped his English at the United States.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he was learning English on his off time because I saw the video of him with Hafid doing like the mock English job interview thing. That was really cool. Those are really funny, by the way, on Rizin's Instagram. But we're gonna move on, Dan. We got J versus K. We got a series of 3 fights. We'll start off with the first one. This one I'm now interested in after watching the Horizon Confessions video. But Goto Chihiro taking on Jung Hoon Lee, who's got a weird record. I don't know what his official record is. Ryzen says 9-1, but I think Tapology says 4-1, something like that. I don't know what the exact
yes, for one. Yes.
He's got these weird modified things. Anyway, he's a former Road to UFC guy. So as I've always said, if you want to get on a Ryzen show, be Mikaru's friend or lose on Road to UFC. So yeah, listen, I have to say that Confessions video made me more excited for this fight because I love Lee shit talking so much, saying that he's the most popular fighter in Korea, that like he's gonna make Shinryu cry. I was dying. I love this guy already. And I'm so excited for this fight. What do you think about this one? Because I really thought like, oh god, they got some scrub from Korea that they want to give Shinryu an easy win. I'm really looking forward to this one.
He's really cocky, I would say. I think we have an opinion from Taki. That Shinryu is way better, and I can agree with this because I saw his fights in Korea. Of course, he is a nice striker with a very fast hands, but his takedown defense is a bit questionable. I saw also his fight from the road to UFC against Mark Klimakow, and Klimakow did not have much problems with taking him down when he went for a takedown in a dynamic way. Later, Lee was defending the takedowns of Klimakow, but I think it was a matter of a bit different, different type of different level of condition. In the second or third round, you are more tired, and that's why it was a lot of a lot less dynamic from Klimakow. And I have a theory that Shinryu has a big gas tank. He won't be tired after the second round, and he will still have his dynamic of moving, of takedowns, and it will be his big advantage over Jung Hyun Lee.
But I have a question for you. So after that loss to Horiguchi, and he looked like he had seen like a ghost. Seems like he saw all of his past relatives like come to him in a dream. He looked, and he even said that like this was a nightmare for him. How do you, for a guy that went on such a long winning streak, who had so much hype behind him, and he loses to Horiguchi, he looked good as well at first. That should be said. What do you think? Do you think we're going? Because some people, when they get that big loss, they come back and they're not the same fighter. Do you think that's at all possibly Shinryu in this case?
No idea, totally. Because when I think it's a bit typical thing for Japanese. They don't. He did not have any emotions during speaking this, so I can't tell you if it was a meaningful, really, if he had some trauma, or he's just talking about this. I don't know. Can't tell you.
Hmm. Again, I'm gonna say this. Please watch this Rising Confessions video 148 because again, Lee's shit talking is hilarious. I'm an instant. If you lose, I don't care if you lose it in 10 seconds. I want to see him back. I want to see this guy back already. But yeah, listen, I have to go by also who these two have fought. It's also. Did you also notice that he said that he got an offer from Road to UFC as well? And then
Yes,
he chose the
yes,
Rise
I saw
one.
this.
So he got eliminated and he got invited back again. And then he chose the Ryzen one. That's very interesting. Just thought I'd point that out as well. So, but I have to go Shinryu.
I think so. Yes.
Unless he gets destroyed in this fight, I expect we're going to see, the Shinryu that's just is all action, all in your face. He's not going to let Lee at all get a bit of. He's not going to let him get an inch. He's not going to let him breathe. He's just going to destroy him for. Well, he said he wanted to punish him, so maybe he'll intentionally destroy him for 3 rounds.
I will bring this argument once again, but this fight will take place in a ring,
Yes.
and Lee never fought in the ring. All of his pro fights took place in a cage. So it may be some kind of argument in this fight, some X factor.
So actually, Taki said something very interesting. Shinryu is 4th place as flyweight in Japanese. So obviously, number 1 would be Kyoji. Who would
Taira,
be number 2, number 3?
Taira,
Oh, okay. Taira and
Raid Tsuruya.
Suruya. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I see that. We're gonna continue on. Kuramoto versus Jiyoung Yang, and I'm gonna say this right now. I think Kuramoto is shot. I don't think this guy has a chin anymore. He's getting older. This is going to be a destruction from Yang. Change my mind, Daniel, if you can.
The main question about this fight is did Yang fought with this kind of wrestler? Because majority of his opponents, especially from Japan, were brawlers or not very high level fighters like these Japanese guys in the Road FC. I have some doubts that he ever fought with this kind of this kind of good wrestler like Kuramoto. Kuramoto is an aggressive fighter. He usually won his fights by an aggression, by his wrestling, and as would our man J Wolf would say, by an assignment that he also is using. So soccer kicks, so grounded knees. He doesn't have definitely a habit to just stopping his legs on the ground and stuff like this.
Yeah. They talked about in this confession video about Jiyoung Yang's left punch. And listen, I would have said if this were like 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would have picked Kuramoto. But man, listen, I mean that knockout, Shinobu Oto knocking him out that easily, like really changed my thoughts on it. Also, another thing as well, the Motoya and the Yamaniha fight where he just took like ungodly punishments from both of them, Motoya. And so here's my other theory as well. During the press conference when they had Kuramoto and all the fighters come out, he was wearing sunglasses. They're indoors. I'm worried. You know what I'm going to say? I'm worried that I think he might have some CTE or because that's one of the things about if you have CTE, concussion-like symptoms, that you cannot be with bright lights. So that has me worried. I don't think that's why I think Ji Young Yang's gonna walk. This was 3 or 5 years ago. I picked Kuramoto, but no, excuse me, Yang is a stud. He's looked good in all of his fights, even the one that he lost in Road. He was winning, and then I forgot the exact how he fucked up and got choked out. But other than that, yeah, he's walked through almost like all of his opponents so easily.
About that sunglasses inside, I think this is just.
I don't know if you're overthinking it, but just it's something that really stood out to me. Because he's
I
not
don't
really
think.
like, oh, I'm cool, I'm Ren, wearing sunglasses.
Yes, yes, that's why I'm talking about. Kuramoto has only 14 fights since 2017, and his debut is December 2017. So I don't think it's that. This is it. But the good point, Taki has a good point that Jiong has a good left punch and he's not sure if Kuramoto can avoid it. And I can agree with this because Jiong is a southpaw and his stronger hand is a left hand. And his left cross is deadly, literally. So he has his knockout power. So if Kuramoto can avoid it, then I think he has a chance. If Ji Yang will be able to land his left punch on Kuramoto's head, then there's a problem for Kazuma Kuramoto.
Also, just one thing.
And the one thing
Right?
that I wanted to bring,
Yes.
the only loss of Ji Yang against Rajabali Shaidulaev, it was at the Road FC 64 last year in June, and that's why I'm thinking that Kuramoto has a lot of chance because the Kyrgyz fighter in Road took Ji Yang very fast, and then he outgrappled him and submitted him by a rear neck choke. And
Also, don't forget to kill the lead. Shaidulov also just signed with Rizin as well.
That's what I wanted to bring. Also, yes, this is the newest Rizin signing, Shaidulaev. So it's Rizin is developing.
We'll get a rematch. We'll get a rematch.
Maybe yes. Why not?
Daniel, who do you pick to win?
Mm,
I'm writing all this shit down, by the way. That's why I'm being. I got all on my notepad right here.
Considering all the things, I think that this is kind of 50-50 fight because both fighters has a tools to win this fight, to even finish this fight, and nothing will surprise me. Maybe decision will surprise me. This is what will surprise me at all in this fight.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, by the way, as well, only thing I like to point out is that Jay is apparently Yang went to a split decision with Jae Hoon Moon, who's probably the worst fighter of all time. I still can't believe the amount of people he's beaten. It horrifies me.
The best fighter with a minus record.
Yeah. If we're talking about somebody who also has a record that you shouldn't judge, Taichi Nakajima, I spelled it wrong, sorry. Taking on Sol Chu Kim. Really looking forward to this one, man. This one is I think it's gonna be the best out of the three. J versus K fights. What do you think about this, Dan?
The one thing that I'm sure about that the Kim is a favorite in this fight, and he is a big favorite in this fight. From the other hand, Nakajima has a lot of experience, pro experience, but the main thing that is Nakajima looked very good in his last fight against Okada. Oh, then that end of this fight, of his fight against Okada, when he twice tried to make a flying stomp and then some grounded knees, and he ended this fight by a soccer kick. It was a decision, by the way, but when you will take a look on his recent opposition and his recent wins, In last years he won only against local guys, or mainly against local guys. Meanwhile, Sochul Kim made a big impact against top guys like Hiromasa Ogikubo that he beat. Also, he had a really close fight against Archuleta, and I personally think that he deserved
Oh,
a
we all
win.
did. We all
This
did.
one.
The other question, he also won the road tournament that they just had, I believe, right? Did
Yes,
Road just have a
yes,
tournament? He
yes.
won it? Yeah.
Looking on the recent opposition and the recent performance, and the profile of the fights of both fighters, I think that Sochul is on a different level than Nakajima. With all respect to the style of Nakajima, and his assignment, I think that Sochul will win this fight. I don't know if he will finish this fight, but I think it will be relatively kind of easy fight for Sochul.
But but you can't deny that Nakajima has beaten top people. I mean, look at that. Like Okada, who's a Shudo champion or was Shudo champion, he beat Jorge a number of years ago. Tamura,
But
Dan Each. I know these were years ago. Shoko Sato, who's now fighting in Rizin. I mean, and he's one of those people who has a weird record where he's lost to people that are not top people. Some are not top, but then he's beaten people who have gone on to be top people. So it's a very it's. I think this fight's harder to pick than you might be thinking.
I think that's why I did not bring his all wins, because his best wins took place years ago. Only I have brought up his recent fights of both fighters, and that's what we are talking about. Of course, Nakajima has a lot of very good wins, but it was, as you said, years ago.
The other thing also is that, so if this is a striking fight, let's just say if Taichi keeps it standing on people like he kind of Okada. Here's the problem: Kim kind of doesn't do a lot of defensive stuff. He kind of just he tries to bait people in, and he kind of just becomes he can be a punching bag at times. And I don't see either of these fighters finishing each other, to tell you the truth. But when it comes to output, I think that Nakajima can deliver a lot more volume as opposed to, I guess, finishing power stuff that I think Kim will do. And then I think Nakajima is also a much more safer fighter than Kim is. I think Kim's a little bit more not wild, but he's not as, and he doesn't put up the defenses because he knows he has a good chin. I don't think he's ever been knocked out as well in any of his fights. I think he's only lost by submission and decision, but he's got a great chin on him, and he could probably take Nakajima's punches. But if he does, that could wind up having him lose a fight.
In my opinion, Kim is more technical striker, and I think it will be his main advantage in this fight, considering that we are expecting basically a boxing, kickboxing, striking fight between them.
So, but let's make it interesting. I'm gonna pick Taichi because I was very impressed by his fight with Okada.
It was great.
Yes,
I can agree.
Great. Yeah, I do agree that Kim has fought much tougher opponents of recent, and he's destroyed them. I mean, I think he beat Archuleta as well. But I think also if Taichi somehow, who do you think would be the better guy on the ground if someone decides if this fight somehow got on the ground?
No
I feel
idea,
like Taichi would be.
to be honest. But
I feel like Taichi would be.
But Taichi maybe a better fighter, especially that, as I said before, he knows an assignment. So he's using frequently the soccer kick stomps and stuff like this.
The other question I have for you is, did he get his Nintendo Switch yet? I don't think he has.
I
right?
was thinking about it, yes,
I was thinking about that too.
but maybe his wife bought him that Switch after he won the Road tournament.
I would hope so. I hope she's not. I hope she's not edging him. Oh no, you gotta win a championship in Rizin now, and I hope I hope she's not torturing the poor guy like that. Um, but okay, well we're gonna go on to the co-main event. Did I even write that? Oh, there it is. The co-main event. Can I be honest? I don't give a shit about the fight. Daniel can change my mind.
Uh, I will tell you this: this fight has a chances to be interesting, but only if Shinobu Ota won't give a space for Juntaro Ushiku to grinding, to just pushing him to the corner or the ropes. But I think that Ota, who is a great wrestler, has the tools to just neutralize Ushiku and then beat him. Ushiku is one of the weirdest fighters in Rizin's history, considering his efficiency and his style, and the fact that he is a former champion. Mm, but I think that Ota won't give him a space to just use his usual tactics. I know that Yoshiku was training in the US not even once, but I don't think it will change his style at all. Uh, as I said before, Ota is very strong, physically strong. I haven't seen before, weak physically the wrestler who is a physically weak. Here for Ushiku hate.
Yeah,
No,
I'll be honest. I don't like either of them. So
but
it's
yeah,
equal.
but I'm not a Ushiku fan as well, of course, and I hope that
Yeah,
Ota will neutralize him, and then this fight has a lot of chances to be interesting. This is a bit like I would say high risk fight, risk of being boring, but also I had this issue with Kailagwon against Hagiwara. It turned to be really good fight. Why? Because Hagiwara was able to keep this fight stand up,
exciting.
and he also used some soccer kicks after takedown defense. That's why it was good, but it had a chance
Well, okay,
to be totally boring.
what do you think, Dan, about Ushiku going down? We've seen cases. I think there's been more cases of people who have gone down in weight who are not as successful as people who go up in weights. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but that's just my general feeling. I know Takeda went down and he was successful, but that was against Hagiwara. Let's be honest. But like I think of people like T.J. Dillashaw. I think of what was it, Cody Garbrandt as well. And then
Kawajiri.
you look at Kawajiri. That's a good example as well. I just think of, and then I look at people like those Anyos who goes up to welterweights and fucking greater welterweight, and then others as well who go up and what's his name, God of
Mm,
War as well. So I don't know.
Mitsuhiro Ishida went from lightweight to the featherweight, and he wasn't successful when he
Actually,
went
we
down.
got Kanehara. Kanehara was at bantamweight. Now look at it, he's a contender at featherweight. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Mm,
I don't.
but
I
from the
don't.
other hand, Kanehara started his big career as a featherweight. He
Yeah.
was he was a
But the
former
competition also wasn't that
featherweight
good.
champ.
Wasn't as it was different competition at the time. And he's faced tough competition at featherweight, so got to give him credit for that. But I don't know. Do you think that Ushiku is going to look any different at having to cut the extra 10 for this fight?
This is kind of a good question. I've just been wondering about this fight. How Ushiku will look in front of Ota. If he will look as a huge bantamweight, or the size difference won't be that significant. This is a very good question, and will be an important factor in this fight as well.
Who do you pick to win this unfortunate matchup?
Ota. Ota, because I'm expecting, I wish this fight will be good against all odds, against all predictions, and but it will be good only when Ota will control this fight and will neutralize Yushiku.
I want to say Ota too, but I'm just thinking of like what fucking weird ass way, like like Ota like tries to go for a takedown and tears his ACL into 1,000 pieces, and Ushiko. I'm just thinking like that some weird shit's gonna happen, and Ushiku's gonna somehow win. Or Ota misses the takedown. He goes flying through the ropes and bonks his head on the floor. So there's gonna be. I'm just thinking of like the weirdest way that he could possibly win this fight, because there always is some weird fucking way that he always wins these fights. I would rather Ota win. I think. I don't know. Is mythical Ushiku ATT fighter the next is that the next mythical Japanese fighter? How have the ATT fighters been since Matoya? Who else has been to ATT so far?
Motoya definitely, because
Did Leopard go to ATT as well?
might be, of course, but I don't
Really what
remember,
they
to
look
be
like.
honest.
Okay.
But I saw the shoot from the one of the last Rising Confessions episodes with Ushiko and
Oh yeah.
Motoya,
Oh yeah.
and
I forgot. Yeah, he lost against the Vince, the JTT guy.
yes,
So
with he was with Motoya, and Kyoji was a translator
that's all I
in
did
this
probably
case.
was
Yes.
translate for them. Probably. Okay, I'm gonna pick Ota as well. But if like Uchiko wins by some weird freak thing, I'm not gonna be surprised. And like I said, I'm not looking forward to this fight. But sorry, go ahead, Dan. Were you gonna say something?
Wanted to say that I'm against all odds, and I think that this fight might be interesting, but don't have to.
Oh, so Rinia was there, and I know that guy. Can't if Figia. I know he's the guy that's in was it Shuto? I think he's the lightweight in Shuto, I believe, right?
Might
The,
be.
um, but well, Rinia is already successful. So, but people in Ryzen who are going to ATT doesn't seem to be working out so well. So maybe that trend will continue. But we're
From
talking
JTT
about
to
kind
ATT.
so Chihiro Suzuki defending against Kanehara. Really looking forward to this one, Dan. I want to hear how you think this fight can go.
I'm first and foremost, I'm sure that this fight um on a stand up position will go definitely in favor of Chihiro Suzuki. This is I'm 100% sure that Kanehara won't be a good opponent. Will go head to head against Chihiro, who is a beyond kick ranked fighter, and he is a current knockout fighter. So Chihiro has a ton of kickboxing experience, and simply he will outstrike Kanehara if Kanehara will try to stand and bank with him. But we know that Kanehara is very experienced fighter. Has how many fights he has? He is 41, but he has almost almost 50 pro MMA
Chihiro was
fights.
4 years old when Kanehara made his debut in 2003, and probably listen, that's what was his pro debut. He probably had some amateur stuff before then, so he was training like probably as early as 2000, earlier than 2000. It's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. Yes, definitely. Of course, Chihiro is much younger, but we could see that Kanehara has a second prime of his career. I'm very interested where he will go. All these things will go. But in this case, Chihiro is a favorite. But if this fight will go to the ground, what Kanehara will do, I'm 100% sure. There a lot of things can happen. But from the other hand, also Chihiro was able to deal against great grappler like Masakazu Imanari. Also, he lost very fast against Kleber.
And but
So
here's the other thing as well. He beat Sora as well, who you would think could out grapple him. Um, but the interesting, I was reading watching a lot of Kanehara. Here's the Kanehara is known as a grappler, but I've noticed that he doesn't really finish. He doesn't. He doesn't force a finish while grappling. He'll use grappling to maintain position, to strike. We see that a lot now. He did that with the Ishida fight and Kleber to win by points by decision. He doesn't really. He's not hunting like when if Kleber's on top of you, he's hunting for a submission. He's doing nothing else but figuring how I can triangle you. But Kanehara doesn't do that a lot now. He's much more tactical on the ground.
of course, but only you have to be a maniac to intentionally go with Kleber to the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was rewatching that fight. I'm like, man, like this guy just and he's putting his head out there. He's not he's not putting his head to his chest. He's like, yeah, he was baiting like that. I can't believe he did that, and that's still one of the most impressive like
beating the shit
MMA.
out of Kleber on the ground shown that Kanehara is a real Japanese badass.
Yeah.
It was really crazy. But if you will see the recent opposition of Kanehara, Ashida, who used to be a wrestler, Majima, who used to be a grappler, Sora Yamamoto, who used to be a grappler, and Kleber, who used to be an orthodox grappler. I think that Suzuki, the style of opponent, striking style of opponent of Kanehara will, make a lot of questions. If how Kanehara can deal with that great striker in person of Chihiro Suzuki.
But here's the thing. I don't think I have to worry about being submitted if Suzuki gets tossed to the ground. I don't see Kanehara being a submission hunter like a Kleber does or Satoshi does. So it's kind of more you have to like get out or you have to like endure 5 rounds of Kanehara just maintaining position, getting some strikes.
3 rounds.
Sorry. Sorry. 3 rounds. Excuse me. Let's see. We got some people who Luke says Kleber's got the Oliveira problem where he's way too confident in his guard and gets smothered by a similarly skilled grappler. That's true.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. And he also says, I think Kanehara can pick his shot to slowly pressure into an arm triangle. He does have a great arm triangle. I'll give him that. I just don't. But like, the thing is that this fight is going to start on the feet. It ain't starting on the ground, as they say. And I don't know. Do you think that I think the first round is going to benefit Suzuki the most. I think. Because he's gotten most of his wins in the first round by finish, like the Pitbull fight, the Nakahara fight. But I don't know. This is a tough fight to pick because I like them both, and I could see both winning. Also, I'm not gonna lie that the confessions video. What do you think of the confessions video where Kanehara was saying, "Listen, none of the young guys now are real fighters," or something like saying it's like stuff like that.
To be honest, I wasn't able to watch this particular episode. I saw the previous one with Japan against Korea and with Sakakibara's speech.
I think if gun to my head, I think Kanehara's been on a great run. I think he's not going. If the only thing I hope that if Suzuki wants to win this fight, hopefully all he did was just take down the fence at cross point Kichioji or going over that stuff of Gomi or whatever. Um, yeah, no, I'm gonna have to err on the side of Suzuki. Whenever the cards are down against him, he always somehow finds a way to win. And not like the Ushiku way, where it's like the guy breaks his leg with a misstep. Like he doesn't. He just does. He's a hard guy to put down. And I think the harder the fight goes, that might actually motivate Suzuki more. If that makes any sense.
Of course, Suzuki also
Like he's
has.
not gonna give up. He's not gonna be like, oh, if I'm 2 rounds down, I'm just I don't he's just gonna be. I mean, they call him the lightning. They call him the Thunder Kid or the Lightning Kid. I forgot what his nickname is.
Who?
Suzuki. They call him the Lightning Kid, I think, right?
Lightning Kid. I think it's a reference to Gomi because they have a bit similar styles, but different, foundation styles.
Yeah, but I gotta ask, who do you think is gonna win this, Dan? I'm gonna officially pick Suzuki.
If longer I'm thinking about this fight, I'm leaning into Suzuki's side because he is younger. He has better overall skills, much better striking, and enough ground game and takedown defense to win this fight. Kanehara, of course, has a chances if he will go to the ground and if he will control Suzuki on the ground, and then maybe he will try to go for a finish, as Luke pointed out.
Also, the other thing also I forgot to mention, the Vugar win. The Vugar win also in the first round.
Yes.
Listen, by all accounts, Vugar should have beaten Chihiro. I mean, that's the other thing as well. If he takes him down, listen, I don't want to say that we could see a repeat, but that's possible. Suzuki's even dangerous on the ground. If he can kick you or punch you, he will do that. So
definitely, Chihiro is a lucky guy because he is fighting in Rizin where he can do a lot more than elsewhere.
Yeah. Also, gotta say, I'm kind of the whole story. His whole being two champions of two different sports, and just his whole background. I just wrote a long piece for MMA Soccer that will hopefully be published tonight. Just like his whole backstory is very interesting, and it's a great story, a great I guess they call it Cinderella story. But so we got Chihiro retaining the title. Dan,
I can agree with this. But as you said before, it's crazy when you will think how Chihiro started his Rising run. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, so he lost to Shoji, and they were like, okay, this guy's a bum. We're gonna put him against Sora, who will go through him. Then he beats Sora. They're like, fuck, okay, let's put him through somebody else that can maybe beat him, like Ren. Then he destroys Ren on the feet, by the way.
On the feet, yes.
And then he takes the Imanari fight on like a week's notice. Gets his leg. He tore his ankle or something during that fight. Then he takes the Nakahara fight, and then he also had like a kickboxing fight in between, like around that time as well. Maybe at the beginning of the years, I think.
Yeah, I think by this fight, Chihiro took the soul of Nakahara, who in his next fight, Nakahara was taking the fight to the ground against Dark Shirakawa, and it's crazy.
Oh, I don't remember shit about that fight.
How it was a life change of Nakahara after this fight.
So Dan, 3 fights you're looking forward to on this card.
Okay. I will tell you this. Of course, the main event, because it's the main event for some reason. Not only the title on the line. Also,
just want to say it's great that it's not Mikuru or Ren or Saito. I'm glad that we got some fucking new blood.
Of course, yes.
Yoshiku is nowhere near featherweight anymore, so that's good as well. So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Of course. The main event, Chihiro against Kanehara. The second fight would be Hiroaki Suzuki against Yaman if it wouldn't off. for unfortunately. But instead of this, I will say I'm really interested about how Nazimov will deal with Sora Yamamoto, uh, and I will say. mm, I will tell you this: Ushiko against Ota, because I'm really interested how Ota will neutralize Ushiko. I know it's a bit controversial take, but I'm really looking forward to see it. It's very possible. It's possible that I will regret it after during this fight, but right now I think that it's an interesting matchup for some reasons.
I think you will. I think you will regret it, sir. But that's just me. I agree with you. I'm looking forward to the main event. Obviously, I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm going to also put in Taichi Nakajima versus Social Kim. I think that fight's going to be is really going to be under the radar. I think it's going to be a really exciting fight between those two. And then
Okay.
listen, X. I gotta know who X is. So Tetsuki Shinosuke versus X. And seeing how bare knuckle goes in Rizin. I'm curious to see just like listen, you introduce a new sport, I'm curious to see what's gonna happen, what's gonna get fucked up. You know, yeah, I'm curious to see how that whole thing's gonna happen. So
Yes,
yeah,
of course, new sports, brand new thing at Rising events. But one more thing that I wanted to say
yep,
the Japanese guy i- who is participating in this event. He
yeah,
also took place in a historical um, kickboxing event in MMA gloves. It was the very first one in Rising.
yeah. So seems like Shinosuke is kind of like the guinea pig for all the new shit that's going on. Um, so Daniel, we gotta head out, but where can people find you? This is where people can find you, right?
Yes, this is basically the main channel of communication with me. I'm posting a lot of things. Majority, I think, this is a majority of things in English about Japanese MMA, about MMA in general, about, of course, kickboxing, because I'm a big kickboxing head. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm placing there my lifestyle thing, also some working things. Of course, on it, I'm also advertising all my Polish broadcasts, both on Twitter and on my Instagram via Insta Stories, and probably that's all you need to know where you can find me on the internet.
Actually, I apologize. Falling Star did have a question. Maybe you can answer this
Okay.
better, Daniel. Do you think Sakakibara will meet Turk E. Alashik when he will visit Japan for the Inoue Dome fight? Could this be the biggest business opportunity for Ryzen if they meet and like each other? I have no idea who that is. Who is that Eastern European gentleman?
I think he's some Asian gentleman, maybe from Uzbekistan, because as I wanted to say it before. The president of Uzbekistan, or ambassador of Uzbekistan,
Oh,
invited Sakakibara.
it's a Saudi advisor. He's a Saudi advisor to the royal courts, and I guess he will.
Oh, okay. A lot of money, oil money.
I mean, yep. Listen, listen, brown nose that motherfucker, please. Yeah, if you want. Listen, that's where all the money now is. Yeah, it is the biggest. That's the biggest. Yeah, it is the biggest opportunity. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would. Yes, I would say, do your best to suck up to that gentleman. I would too. I have no qualms about saying that. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that, Dan?
It would be great. He can give all amount of investment into the Ryzen, but it's actually the interesting thing, because last year I heard the rumors about some Saudi involvement into the Ryzen. I saw that Sakakibara had some meeting with some Saudi Arabian gentleman.
I didn't listen. just shaking their hand is not immediate. Listen, I'll believe it when I see it. When we see a Rizin show, if we see Saudi guys sitting at the Rizin show this weekend, just sitting up front, or we see we see Rizin UAE, Landmark UAE, or something like that, then yeah, then we'll know. But right now, and I said in the confession show that it looks like Korea will be next, probably.
Yes, probably, and it would be great because it's a kind of natural way of expansion of Japanese MMA, because we remember that before Heroes was holding their events. I think it was one or two events in Korea. Also, K1 was scheduling their Korean shows on a regular basis. They also had a regular Korean broadcaster. XTM television, I remember it. But what I wanted to say, it's also Dream had a scheduled some Korean show at some time, but from what I remember, TBS, so Japanese broadcaster, took it down basically. This is, as I said before, this is very natural place of expansion for Rizin, and we could see that KMMA has a lot of big quality.
And it's gotten better. Road FC was dog shit like a few years ago. They've picked up. They got great fighters. They're on the up and up. I think there's more to do there as well. Maybe have the Japan versus Korea show in Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
Of course, but as you said before, KMMA in zeros was a cannon fodder for Japanese fighters. Right now, couple of years after the couple of years, they had a UFC title contender in the person of Korean Zombie. They had Dong Hyun Kim, a lot of great fighters. So Korean MMA,
the greatest Korean fighter of all time, Yoshihiro Akiyama,
Sohee Ham. So yes, this is a very exciting thing if Rizin finally will land in the southern part of the Korea.
Yes. So, but we got it out, guys. But before we do, check out my co-host Jay Christian Gary, his Linktree/Focus Fights. Check out his preview show that he just did this week on the Focus Fights YouTube page. You can also follow him at Twitter X J Chris Gary. That's his new Twitter now. Same thing with the Focus Fights. It's at Focus Fights. Follow We Are Rizin Pod, which We Are Rizin Podcast Twitter, obviously. And please, if you would like to join the Discord, Rizin FF, which is where we shit post and make fun. No, we sometimes shit post, but we have fun talking about the fights and all that stuff. Just don't be an asshole, and we'll all get along. That being said, thank you everybody who tuned in from wherever you are. Look forward to Rizin this Rizin 46 at Sunday night, Monday morning if you're on the East Coast on Rizin Fight Pass, Rizin Streaming Pass on Rizin.tv. So make sure to watch it that way. If not, if you don't want to, it's also on Rizin.live for Japanese commentary. But that, everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. Appreciate it, and looking forward to the review show.